You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. My name is Mark Hunter. And hey, 95% of all prospecting does not work. And what is it that you need to do? Come on, let's get real. The customer is not responding to our selling schedule. Why are we selling on our schedule? Maybe we should sell on their schedule. That's the topic of today's program, and it begins right now.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
Okay, let's not kid ourselves. 95% of all prospecting does not work. Now you're asking me, where do those numbers come from? Okay, hey, I've asked enough salespeople. Let me tell you something. I've looked at enough data that it's probably higher than 95%. So here's the deal. Look, email is overused. Nobody answers the phone. Voicemail doesn't get us anywhere. Social media messages are ignored. Text messages, video, everything, it seems like, does not work. What is it that we need to do? Well, let me tell you something. The answer is actually in all of them. Whoa, yeah, let me unpack this. You see, our challenge is, like I said, right up at the front. We are trying to sell from the seller's journey. In other words, we have you, the customer, in our cadence, and I'm going to drip on you. I'm going to do, umpteen number of emails, umpteen number of phone calls. And for some reason, you're going to suddenly decide to buy because you fit in my ICP, my ideal customer profile. Problem is, that's not good enough. You see, we have to move from the seller's journey to the buyer's journey. I want you to let that sink in here for a bit, because the vast majority of prospecting messages are really all about buy from me. It's product and feature driven. Hey, the 90s are calling. They want that style back. It doesn't work today. Here's why I cannot sit there and lead with products and features and try to get you to sell, because it's this thing called the web and AI. The customer has access to all of the knowledge that they need right now. They have all of the knowledge they need. Yeah. So why do they need to listen? Why do they need to read any of those messages that we are sending them? Hey, John is checking in with us, and he said, or excuse me, I should say Andrew. He says he uses the SMART goals technique: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It's interesting. That's a fascinating approach, because yes, it does apply to prospecting when you put it into the customer's lens. It's not our lens, it's the customer's lens. And this is what's absolutely key. You see, our whole challenge in sales is that we have to be focused much more on buyer interest and buyer intent. Now, there's a big difference on this. I talked about this in a couple previous shows. Go back and listen to the previous episodes to catch the details on. But a lot of people have buyer interest. This is probably why they're in our ICP. But it really comes down to buyer intent. And buyer intent, and there's a lot of software out there, a lot of tools that are being sold, and a lot of tech things that, hey, we can uncover buyer intent signals because they looked at this website, or they did this webinar, did this. I hate to say it, but those are false positives. They are absolutely false positives. Now, not all of them. I mean, there's some good ones out there, but the vast majority of them are false positives. What we need to be looking at is what are the trends in their space. What's happening in their business? What's happening to their competitors? Is there a competitor that is coming in and really coming after them? Is there something happening relative to interest rates, or relative to regulation, whatever it might be? You see, what I'm doing is I'm looking for signals that are macro to the industry, but micro effective. This is what your prospecting message needs to be around. Andy Greenberg is jumping in. Always great to have you. He's saying, hey, attract attention, arouse interest, create desire, get action. That is exactly what we're talking about here, Andy. Thank you so much for jumping in with that, because this is so true. Because here's the whole thing. Information has been democratized. The customer has everything. So what we got to do is we have to say, how do I share with my customers information that they will find of value to them? And go back and look at all of your prospecting messages. I bet you're going to find that 80% of them, 80% of the content of 100% of your messages is all about you, 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 you. Hey, don't sit there and say, oh, I put their customer's name in there. I say that. No, no. We have to get extremely granular in making our messages be relevant to their issues, their needs. This is why I say go back and look at what's happening in their industry, what's happening in their company. Is this person I'm reaching out to new in their position? What are these things? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sending them information relative to those things. In other words, information that's relative to them. In the old days, we used to call these triggers. Now we call it, buyer intent. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. But what I'm looking for is to be delivering value to them. Now, this is what's very interesting. It almost means that our prospecting is becoming a little bit of marketing. And it is, because here's what we're doing. Customers have options. Very rarely does the customer only have one option out there. So this means they have multiple people with which to pick from, with which to work with. So what it is that you have to be seen as the one who they want to open up with. And Daryl Clark is jumping in right now, and he says, you're right. Find the problem and then offer a solution. This is exactly what you're doing. You're identifying from a macro perspective what the problem could be. You're coming in on them. You're reaching out to them. You're developing trust and a relationship with them to allow them to share more insights with you. And when you do that, it is amazing at how you're now going to be able to solve the challenge. You see, we have to look at prospecting as taking on several different phases. The first phase is this awareness, this marketing phase, but it has to be absolutely focused against the seller's, not the seller's journey, the buyer's journey, not the seller's journey, which means the messages have to be focused on their need. When I do that, it is amazing how things change. The other piece is we have to be prepared then to stay in the game longer. Yes, it's a longer cycle with which to convert the prospect. You're seeing that. I'm sure you're seeing it. I'm seeing it. Every study is saying it. But here's the situation. If all you're doing is selling to them, then guess what? You're bugging them. You're not delivering value. This is why I say we can stay in the game longer, much longer than ever before, if we are delivering value to them. I had a major prospect, major opportunity come across my desk, and it took 18 months. And you go into my CRM system, 79 messages, 79 touches I had to go through to get them to respond and ultimately become a customer. Yes, they became a customer. Now, what's interesting is 79 touches. It was a combination of phone calls, emails, all kinds of different touches. But never did I feel like I was bugging them, because everyone was laden with new value for them, a new insight for them. You can stay in the game much longer. So this is my whole takeaway on this. 95% of all prospecting does not work because we're trying to sell. Get off of that. Get off of that. What we have to do is we have to convert, and we have to be 100% focused on bringing value to them. Think like a marketer. Think like a marketer in terms of what are the insights that my customer would want to have answers to, which takes me to my final point. And this is really where AI is going. We talk about how SEO is dead, search engine optimization. Yeah, it's pretty much dead because it's been replaced by GEO, generative engine optimization. But I think it's gone one step further, and that is AEO, answer engine optimization. This is what it is. What we want to be doing is we want to take AEO and make it APO, answer prospecting optimization. That's what we want to be doing, is providing our customers answers to the questions that they have. And oh, by the way, questions that they may not even have thought to ask. But when we do that, it is amazing at how no longer will we be just one of their options, but we will be the option Because remember, the customer is doing research, much more research behind the scenes before they even raise their hand and look to engage with a salesperson. So this is my final point. Be prepared that it's going to take longer for you to get any kind of a signal back from the person you're prospecting because of you're reaching out to them and they're not responding. There's nothing happening. And you think it's radio silence. It might be radio silence only because they have chosen not to respond to you yet. But you're developing that relationship and that trust. Hey, my name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. This has been another focused message on the Sales Hunter podcast. Each week you get 2 podcasts, one like this where we dive in deep, I dive in deep, and the second one comes out on Thursdays where we dive in with a subject matter expert, where we tackle a topic. Hey, the whole purpose of the Sales Hunter podcast is to help you see and achieve what you didn't think was possible. Reach out. If you're having a sales kickoff meeting, reach out to me right now. Let's get it on the calendar. And hey, can I tease you? Got a new book coming out. You'll hear more about it in the weeks to come. My name is Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Leave me a review. Thanks so much. Great selling.